Tara Fox, Roxana Silva, Tazavion Williams, Dakota Adams, Charlie Alejo, Piper Allen, Darwin Banks, Katana Bellamy, Kylie Black, Sarah Chat, Jocelyn Chavez, Robert Clark, Saquon Cuthbertson, Lisette De La Cruz Perez, Isaiah Dickerson, Tyler Demery, Tabitha Gomez, Devondre Henderson, Tilly Wynn, Damani James, Eric Martinez, Diane Martinez, Lorenzo Pena, Jakevon Rainey, Isaiah Robinson, Brian Robinson, Justin Tuttle, Taquan Wiley, and Shantavia V. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Which of these is one similarity of the elements in the first group of the periodic table? So we're missing Maria, Jacob, and Sheila. Anybody else? All right, let's go over this since I see y'all are ready to answer. Number one. Remember, sodium chloride is that NaCl, that table salt. But I'll tell you right now, answering this question, it doesn't matter what the substance is. They didn't even have to put sodium chloride up there. Question says, since sodium chloride is classified as a compound, a sample of it contains what? There's only one word you need. Compound. Everything else is just fluff. It's extra stuff. So knowing what a compound is, who can answer the question about what sodium chloride contains? Think of your definition of a compound, which you should know. Compound. What makes a compound a compound, Alex? B. More than one kind of atom. NaCl, sodium chloride, that's more than one kind of atom. You didn't even need to know about sodium chloride though. You could have been like, oh, a compound means it's got to have at least two different atoms. So your answer is B. Number two, which of these is one similarity of the elements in the first group of the periodic table? Something that a group has in common. Yes. He says A, similar atomic masses. Nope, not quite. What you got? He's got C, very unreacted metals. Nope, not quite. We haven't even gotten there. You're ahead of the game. You're ahead of the game. What you got? B, Same number of valence electrons, that is true. Those are from your notes from yesterday, which you were supposed to study last night. It is B, same number of valence electrons. If you're in the same group or family or column on the periodic table, then you have the same number of valence electrons. And again, they put first group, and you're probably like, I don't know anything about the first group on the periodic table, Ms. Thomas. It doesn't matter, they could have said what is similar in group 18. Answer's gonna be the same. All groups have the same number of valence electrons. Number 3, which statement best describes the organization of the periodic table of elements?
Say that again?
Number 3, which statement best describes the organization of the periodic table of elements? What you got, Katie? He says D, elements within the same period have the same number of electrons. Not quite. Not quite. You want to try again? All right. Go for it. Jaden thinks he looked confident. You look confident. Which one do you think it is? Ah, no. Thank you, John. Okay. You feel like you're confident? Okay. C. It is C. Elements within this group have similar properties. That's also in our notes from yesterday. If you're in the same group or family, you have the same number of valence electrons, and you have similar properties. Just like you and your family members have similar properties. All right, number 4. Elements in the same column of the periodic table of the elements all wait for it. I think I see some light bulbs going on. Come on, ladies. Guys are answering today. Why are there so many guys in here? Andrew, you got it?
Oh no.
You want to take a guess?
No.
A.
I
I'm in B.
All right, Shauna, you got it? It is C. 4 is just a different way of asking the same question number 3. They're trying to trick you up here. Elements of the same column or same family have similar physical characteristics. Don't let 2 questions that seem kind of similar, like, well, that can't be the same answer. Well, yes, they can. All right, after you finish getting the right answers down, I want you to put everything under your desk except for a folder and a pencil, and you can leave the periodic tables up on the desk too.
How about this?
Yeah, the periodic tables can stay up there, project papers can stay up there. None of that is being touched. They're supposedly going to make a decision about school around finish. No, we're not gonna get out of school, they're gonna make a decision and announce it around 12. So I put that there. They would find a place to go to school. If it's not in this building, they'll find you another place. Don't worry.
I feel back to sleep.
Like, was it a high school, the science lab,
High school can
caught fire and burned half the school down? They ended up having classes in the gym or something, I forget. No, I forget what that was. By the time it gets there, she's gonna be, dance coach one.
by the time it's a good thing, you have to show
Bro, you got it. Tomorrow is gonna be such a good day. And then it goes up to 23.
Alrighty, see everything on your desk.
And then Sunday goes in.
I told you he was like, that big, That's what he said. Alright, did everybody get an answer sheet? These already have your name on it. You do not have to write the date or anything else. Don't write anything on the answer sheet, just bubble in your answers. Remember, there is no option E. Do not mark out option E, because if you mark on it, it's gonna count it as correct. Only mark what you're answering. See, he's not ready. Does everybody have a folder? No. When you are done with the quiz, this is what I want you to do. I want you to bring me your answer sheets. I will grade them right away and give them back to you within a couple minutes. I want you to put your folder and your quiz book here. Remember, we're not writing on these quiz books. This is a class set, so don't write on them, please. After you've done that, I'm putting up notes onto page 17. You can start recording the notes. That means that you're skipping page 16 for now, because we're going to do something else on page 16. This is going to go on page 17, yes. You're not going to need them, but you don't have to move them if you don't want to. Not for this test anyway, you're not going to need them. After we are done with the quiz, then we're going to talk about your project. And then we're going to move on to more periodic table notes, and we won't be able to finish today probably. I don't know. Y'all pretty fast. We might. So we'll see. Once these quizzes are handed out, you are not to talk. If you talk, even after you turn in your quiz, I will give you a 0. I have absolutely no talking during any kind of tests or quizzes. Once you have a quiz, you may start. Remember, please do not write on these. And when you're done, bring both of them up to me. Does anybody have any questions? All right, here we go. I'm sorry, the first quiz is out, so there should be no talking.
Teachers, please excuse the announcement. I need the following eighth graders to the 800 side of the media center. Perla Alberon, Brooklyn Beck, Joseph Binky, Renee Brown, Nyara Coleman, LaShawna Atkins, Deanna Allman, Oscar Benitez, Cody Rowe, Rashawn Brown, Devin Bundy, Samaya Cade, Brittany Childress, Taylor Collier, Elijah Curley, Nazaria Cuthell, Caden DeSales, Nazir Garner, Shawnee Grant, Xavier Hayes, Jaden Horn, Alexis Jennings, Trenton Johnson, Deontay Jones, Noah LaFleur, Kiara Lewis, Whisper Sizemore, Riley Scarlett, Destiny Steele, Angel Trowell, and Brianna Young.
I think about one more minute. Make sure all quizzes are turned in, all the folders, and quiz papers are up front for you. Alright, I want you to. I want you to get out your orange project packet. Let's talk about it real quick. Rumor has it that if you already haven't received it, you will be receiving a project in Mr. Kelly's class as well. So I don't want you to freak out about having two projects at the same time. And you will notice on the project paper on the front, it says due date is not till October 5th, which you think, oh, that's next month, but it'll sneak up on you, so do not wait till the last minute to get it done. This is probably one of the more fun projects for science class because it allows you to use your imagination, your creativity, but it also has you research properties of elements. Where is it? Before I do that real quick, I'm going to show you, in case you didn't know, every teacher either already has a website or will be getting a website soon where they put information up for you. I try to update mine at least every week, if not more often, and it's got a lot of resources on there, especially if you feel like you're behind or if you know you're behind because you missed days, something like that. And it also has extra study resources on there too. A lot of you improved on your quiz grade just from the initial scores I'm seeing. Even one person made a 100. So those of you who did worse, I don't know what happened to you. I don't know what in life made you want to like give up on science, but please turn that around. If you need help, let me know. All right, on my website, on the left side, I've got regular stuff like our schedule and rules and expectations for classroom and the team. I also have a link to the interactive notebook. Every couple days, I'll take pictures of the notebook so that you will always have a copy of what's in your notebook in case you, crap, I didn't get the last few sentences, I ran out of time, or I wasn't there that day. Don't spend class time getting those notes. You need to do it on your own time, because if you spend class time getting notes from somebody, then it's going to put you further behind. All right, there's that. Go back. Science homework. On the rare occasion we do have homework, which the only homework I regularly require is that you study, and I'm seeing that it's paying off for some of you and some of you not so much. I will post homework on this tab, and on here I have the link to the full project. I did not give you all 7 pages because frankly you don't need it all, and that's a lot of paper. So if for some reason you happen to lose this packet, which I hope you don't because I made it orange, so it's good to see. Yes, sir.
What is elements?
That's our notes from yesterday. Currently in our class is what's going on now. And this tab right here is pretty important. It's useful links. And I'm going to add to this. This is some of what we've gone over already and some of what we will go over in the future. Andrew, pick your head up. On here, I have atoms and elements flashcards link, a virtual lab where you can build an atom, states of matter if that's hard, density simulation, that's the simulation lab we didn't get to. And then I just added this interactive periodic table. I really like this. I started playing around with it a couple days ago. This has links to all the elements on the periodic table so that you can learn more about them. This is going to come in handy with your project. So this is one resource you can use. It's called Dynamic Periodic Table. It also tells you information about the groups or families as well. And we're going to take notes on this today, but I wanted you to have that resource on my website in case you needed it. How you get to that website is you go on to the Lexington City Schools page, you go to staff directory. You can also access it through like the middle school. You can go to staff directory on there, search for the name, teachers on there somewhere. I think technically I'm still listed as under 6th grade. They haven't fixed it yet. I don't know why, but I'm there and I'm 8th grade. It's okay. So use that resource if you need it. Okay, back to your project. You are to create, given an element, and I will assign you an element. You're to create either a superhero or a supervillain, bad guys are cool too, based on that element. So if your element was a superhero or supervillain, what would it look like? This seems like a big project. It's really not. It's just a lot of guiding help for you. Andrew, if I could tell you, pick your head up one more time.
How does it matter? I'm listening.
Yeah, I can't tell when you're like all snoozy looking, so help me out. So on the front page, it tells you there's going to be 3 components, 3 main components. One thing you're going to turn in is a worksheet, and that's your guiding worksheet on the back of the second page. You're going to fill this out. This is going to be part of your grade. Second thing you're going to turn in is a poster, and it will be not a poster board. It will be half size. I will provide that for you. And the third thing you're going to turn in is a short 1-page story. And I'm talking like double space, so it's going to be really short. So there's not a lot to it, but there's a lot of help on here for you to help keep you organized. Look at the top of the first page. It tells you this is what you're going to do. You got your research, your poster, and your story. Your poster should include a title, so your name of the superhero, whatever you're going to name it, the name of your element that I'm assigning you, and the element symbol. Don't forget your name too. The drawing of your element superhero. So this is where you can sketch and color and use markers, paint, whatever. Or if you're like me and cannot draw worth a lick, I want you to think of alternative means. So there's a website on there called, right under the second section, it's called Hero Machines 3. I've never used this website. We just drew it last year and just kind of went with it. But if you use it, let me know how you like it. It's available there for you where you can customize a superhero character and then you can print it out. So your drawing or generation of your superhero must be about your element. So say sulfur is your element. Sulfur in its natural state, I'll show you guys sometime. I've got some. It's a yellow solid, looks kind of like a powdery rock. Smells like rotten eggs. That's its natural form. So if your superhero is based on the element sulfur, something on it better be yellow. Whether it's the costume or skin color, hair color, something's got to be yellow. All right, going down, 5 facts. In your poster, you should include 5 facts about your element. So you can say, where's it found in nature? What is it used for? That kind of thing. I need 5 interesting facts. Atomic drawing is the second bullet towards the bottom there. That means you have to draw your element's structure. You must have the correct number of protons, neutrons, and electrons. And then you need to include a story about your superhero. And this is based on the properties of your element. So physical description. What would your hero look like based on that element? On the back, it tells you more. Is your hero solid, liquid, or gas? Where in nature can your hero be found? What are his or her strengths? What are his or her weaknesses? What are their arch nemesis? And what other elements can you combine with to make you more powerful? So if you're sodium, then you can combine with the superhero chloride and make an even more powerful superhero, because now you're a compound. All right, turn to page 2. This gives you some questions to help guide your research. So it asks, what's the boiling point, freezing point? What's the mass? What family is it in? Is it an alkali metal, alkali earth metal, transition metal, so forth and so on. Your story must include 5 characteristics or properties of that element. 2 of them must be chemical properties. And if you're like, what's the chemical property? We're going to be learning about that next week, but you can go ahead and research. It's out there. It gives you some examples of properties below that. And then at the bottom it tells you exactly what you need to turn in. It also gives you some resources to use in case you need to get a good starting point. All right, on the back of that sheet, turn to the Element Superhero Villain worksheet on the back. This needs to be filled out as part of your grade. So under other characteristics and properties, you're supposed to put like 8. The numbering printed out weird. I don't know why. I didn't do it. It looked fine on the computer. So that's why the numbering looked a little weird on those. And then the last page is your rubric, the white page. On here is how I'm going to grade your. The higher your grade is means that you're meeting the points all under the 4-point facts. It's not that hard of a project. So what's not on here is a grade for your artistic ability. I don't grade on that, but I am going to grade on your effort and your creativity. So if you turn in a stick figure and be like, I can't draw, here's my stick figure. That's not going to work.
What if the villain name is Stickman?
There is no element stick, so I think you should be safe. Now on the online version of this project, when it has the whole project paper, it's got a couple pages extra that I didn't include. One is an example of how your poster can look. You have a picture or drawing of your hero, you have your 5 facts, you have a drawing of your element. And then it gives you 2 kind of outlines of superheroes you can use if you want to start with an outline and then decorate it. That's what I would do, just because I can't draw. So if you give me like a human-shaped picture, I can dress it up. That's cool. I can do that. So that might be helpful to you. Like I said, this is due October 5th. Right now, what I want you to do is I'm going to give you a number, and you're to write down that number on the front of your paper, and this is going to be your element.
Mine'd be fire.
I'm not going to take requests. I will not take exchanges. Your element is what you get.
Oh, man.
I want,
All right, so up here, for example, Ashton, you're number 4. So your element is beryllium.
I'm 32.
So you're your 28. So you are nickel.
Nickel.
Mhm.
Like silver?
Like nickel.
I don't get it.
So you need to go write 28 on your paper so you don't forget which element you are. Alright, listen carefully. I'm gonna call them out in case you can't read them, which means I need you to be quiet.
So I'll write about a nickel.
Not a nickel, the element nickel. Shh.
Is that on the thing?
All right. Probably. It's a random number generator, so some of you may have the same number, but probably not many of you. Like Maya and Dalton, you have the same number. All right, Ashton 4, LaShawna 43, Andrew 24, Elijah 38, Caden 45, Vanessa 18, Madeline 4, Dawson 35, shh, Jania's 41, Tiana's 57, Maya's 12, Dalton's 12, Janice's 2, Alex is 9, Maria 35, Janet 11, Jacob 16, Nelson 21, Shayla 55, Jason 32, Jose 46, Jaden 17, and Sayer 28. Everybody needs to make sure they have that number written on their page right now.
Miss Thomas, what is 2?
Number 2 is helium.
What's number 4?
Number 4 is beryllium.
Who's number 17?
Number 17 is chlorine.
What's number 24?
Number 24 is chromium.
Chlorine. Chlorine man.
All right, has everybody got their number written down?
Do we make a superhero name too?
Yeah.
Chlorine man.
That's lame, but okay.
I ain't gonna do that.
I
Hold on, wait.
Yep.
Clorox
We have
man.
to see number 4.
beryllium. Beryllium is one of the elements that you find in like emeralds.
What's germanium?
Germanium. That's for you to find out. You did research. Look,
I've never heard of it. So.
like a lot of these you probably haven't heard of.
I wonder what hydrogen looks like.
Hydrogen's a gas. It looks like a whole lot of nothing. Here's beryllium,
How about the number 9?
35.
germanium,
35.
Oh, it's a rock. The
35.
fluorine. Fluorine. Huh? Number 9.
What does beryllium look like?
looks like a dirty rock.
I want to see. I want to see.
How about
All right,
hydrogen?
I think it's beryllium.
all right. You need to get your notebooks out. Page 17. This needs to be copied right now because we got to move on.
It's chromium.
Miss Thomas, what are
Yep. That's why on your table of contents, you're at table 1, you're at table 2. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. People are talking. Repeat, please.
What if our notebook is off from yours?
As long as your table of contents in your book matches, that's what matters. Yeah, this is periodic table 1. The one you picked up today is periodic table 2. When you started? Immediately. Yeah, hold on. If you're a drawer, yeah, you can draw your computer. I'm not a drawer. Yeah, as long as you're not copywriting something. If you make it on the computer and print it out, but you can't just find something and print it. That brings me to the point. All right, good point that he brought up about the document. You can put your story in a document file. And in fact, I'm probably going to insist on it because in your rubric it says it gives you guidelines of your story. Your story has to be 12-point font, double-spaced, 1 page. That's not a lot of writing. Double space takes up a lot of space.
We got a double space.
Yes.
So like when we're
On your settings, it'll say single space, double space. If you are writing it, you better have extremely neat handwriting and be a very nice piece of notebook paper you turn in. That's the only way I'm going to take it. All right, copy this down. If we're out of school the next 2 days, you can finish this project in no time. You can finish the project for the weekend, and then you're free until October 5th.
wait, so y'all had y'all meeting and then we go to lunch or something?
No, the higher ups are having the meeting, and they're gonna let us low people know later. We don't get to say.
No school for the rest of the month.
Y'all had a lot to catch up on. All right, voices off. Mr. Vines, please sit down. Copy these notes. A lot of notes to know and not a lot of time to write them. What I want you to do, while you're writing, if you get to a good stopping point, that periodic table that you picked up on the way in,
What page are we on?
17.
why are you shouting out when I'm talking? That's rude.
Oh no.
Your periodic table that you picked up on the way in, mine's colored, we're gonna do that later. Glue it in on page 16 so that you don't lose it. Just glue it in. We'll worry about it later. But your priority is writing this stuff down. I put glue and scissors and color pencils in a box on your group's desks. Listen. Excuse me. However it'll fit. 6th grade could not handle having a box of supplies at their desks. The boxes got destroyed within the first 2 weeks. So I quit doing it. I don't mind you guys using my supplies. But please take care of them and the box that they're in. So if you need glue sticks, scissors, whatever, it's in the box. But I expect it to be neat. Color pencils to be back in their little box. And if something's broken, let me know before I catch it, because if I catch it later, I'm going to be upset.
Can I cut this down?
Hold on. Let me...
What do the elements, look like the notes?
You have it. It's the flooring with the box. And we labeled the atomic mass, atomic number. 8-man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Everything on the periodic table can be summed up in 3 different categories. One is metals, one is non-metals, and one is something kind of in between called a metalloid. You should be able to be given an element and know whether it's a metal, non-metal, or metalloid on your test. Those of you cutting down this periodic table, you better be writing too, because I'm not waiting for you. Cutting is not necessary. If you choose to cut, you need to make sure it's on your own time. Sayer, you can sit at this desk if you want. You don't have to. You can if you want. You should get you a pillow so your booty doesn't get cold.
I don't have a glass.
I got a whole 2 boxes of pillows right there.
I don't even sleep with pillows, but I'll sit on one.
Yeah, I wouldn't sleep with, but people have been sitting on those. I wouldn't sleep with them. All right, if you are a metal, then you are a good conductor of heat and electricity. That means you allow heat and electricity to move through easily. You are solid at room temperature, except for mercury. Everybody knows what mercury is, yes? It's that stuff that used to be in thermometers, but they started to replace it with other mixtures because it was dangerous, it's poisonous. Mercury at room temperature is liquid. Gentlemen, sit down. It doesn't even need hot water, it's room temperature. Like right now, it would be liquid. Now look at your periodic table, any one of them, either the yellow one or the white one. You notice this dark stair step right here? On the left side? Right side? Everything to the left of that stair step is a metal. The stair step is kind of like the divide between the metals and the non-metals. So if you're anywhere, if I give you an element and it's anywhere on the left side of that stair step, you should be able to tell me it's a metal, and that means that it's a good conductor, and it's usually solid at room temperature. Just like if I tell you 2 elements are in the same family, what does that mean? You should be able to tell me that they have similar properties and that they have the same number of valence electrons. Those are things you just have to know, you have to practice. There are 3 different types of metals in the metal group. Don't worry about the colors next to the names. We're going to color this stuff in tomorrow, maybe, or next week, whatever. One is alkali metals. We heard alkali and alkaline earth metals yesterday during Brain Pop. Periodic table. I mean, some people just happy. So if you are in group 1, the left side, the very first family, except for hydrogen, you're an alkali metal. Hydrogen, it has 1 valence electron, so it hangs out with that family, but it's not a metal. It's a gas.
Hydrogen's a what?
It's a gas. So alkali metals, group 1 except for hydrogen, and that's what that H means. That's the chemical symbol for hydrogen. This is the most reactive of all metals. If you're a group 1, those metals are super reactive. They like to bond and react with other elements very easily. They only have 1 valence electron. We talked about this yesterday. They want to give up that electron so bad so they can be stable, so they'll react with darn near anything.
Will they react if you touch it?
Depends on what you're touching it with. If you're touching it with another certain element, then yes.
Like if you touch it with the glove.
No, because there's hydrogen in the air around us, and it's not reacting to us at all. If you're an alkaline earth metal, that's all of group 2. And these guys are shiny. I'm shiny. In Moana? Yes? No. They're ductile, which means they can be stretched out into thin wires. They are malleable, which means I can hammer them into sheets. So they're not very hard. They are still fairly reactive. They are not the most reactive metal, but they are still pretty reactive. They only have 2 valence electrons. I should put that down there. Two valence electrons. Y'all should know that. They're in group 2. Transition metals, this is where it gets kind of mixed up. Transition metals are not cut and dry like group 1 and group 2. Transition metals have a bunch of different properties. They're still all metals, but they may not have the same valence electrons as you would think a group. So group 3 may not have all 3 valence electrons. Group 4 may not have 4 valence electrons. It just depends. They occur often in nature, which means we can find them naturally all around us in many different places. Like manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, zinc. You can find all those in the ground. These metals are hard, which means you can't pound them into sheets as easily. You can't pull them out into strings or wires easily. They have a high density, and you know what that means. They have a great mass per unit volume. And because they are harder and have a higher density, they also have a higher melting and boiling points, which means that I have to jack the temperature up a lot higher to melt these than I do the other metals. That brings us right along the stair step. And at that stair step, we start to see a transition from metals to non-metals. The non-metals are group 17 and 18, and some of 14, 15, and 16. And I'll show you what it looks like on the periodic table tomorrow. We'll color code it, and it'll be great. Into. All right, move it down just a little bit. All right, your nonmetals. A lot of your nonmetals are gases. Does anybody know what brittle means? Fragile, breaks easily. If you're a solid and you're a non-metal, you'll probably break easy. You're not as tough as a metal. They're usually solids at room temperature, unless you're one of the gases. Most can form ionic and covalent compounds. That doesn't mean a whole lot to you other than that they can bond with different substances. And they are all pretty much located with the exception of hydrogen, because hydrogen is that weird one that hangs out over there at the wrong family. Shh. Lashana, we're not talking. You got notes to catch up on. Non-metals are located mostly to the right of that stair step. They're located all the way at the right end of the periodic table. Like I said, don't worry about the colors next to the words. We're going to fill in the colors later. Your colors may not match mine, and that's okay. Is everybody done with the alkali metals? Our last one we're going to copy today, and if you don't get to it, that's okay. We'll bring this up again tomorrow. Noble gases are group 18. These are the inert gases. Inert gases. They exist as isolated atoms, which means that you will rarely find He2. You won't find two heliums hanging out together. You'll find helium by itself. You'll find neon by itself. One argon by itself. It doesn't need any other elements in order to exist. Its valence electron shell is full. The outer energy shell or electron shell is full, so it is stable. It doesn't need to react. So these are the least reactive substances on the periodic table, and that's been a question in the past too. Which family contains the least reactive elements on the periodic table? And you'll say, oh, that's noble gases because they got a full valence electron shell. It's cool. All right, we're going to pick this up tomorrow once you're done copying. Make sure your area is cleaned up. I don't want any glue sticks on the floor. I don't